Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Sewers Commissioners meeting. Today is April 11th. The time is approximately 6:35. We're in room 320 in the Multi-Service Center. May I have a roll call, please?
Jim Gibberti, present.
Bob Scanlon, present.
Bernie Pigeon, present.
Sandy Slavin.
Are you present?
Sorta.
400. We have the meeting minutes, January 25th. Madam Clerk, do you approve as written?
I find them to be complete and accurate and would recommend the approval of January 25, 24 minutes.
Seconded.
Motion's made and seconded. There being no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote, 400. Next is February 8th. Madam Clerk, do you have,
Oh, I have a problem.
okay. And what is your problem?
If I take a look, let me pull my notes together.
Okay.
February 8th. I've had two versions of February 8th, one I received at the last meeting and one that's coming into this meeting. I'm going to talk to this because there will be somebody coming along to do our minutes, and I need her to understand what problems I have with the 2/8 minutes. We did have the Housing Authority 4 units. It is included in the minutes that we approved the 440 GPD. But if you take a look at the motion for the Cranberry Highway Boston Rehabilitation Center, that the change of use is 1,125, but it doesn't tell me which street, which number that's for. I don't know, I consider that to be important, is if we're going to use the use of 1,125, at what of the two locations that are included in that?
The changes that you're requiring, can you make it this evening, or would you rather?
It's a lot more. So it has to be identified that the site for this is for number 2523 Cranberry Highway. Then we go into Beta, number 3, and then we go into number 4, next meeting. Well, what about everything else that happened in the meeting? It stopped. We had processes for a change order. We had discussion of 15 Narrows Road. We had a superintendent report. We had GHD clarify, it goes on, that it stops at number 3 and doesn't insert everything that happened during the meeting. Now, I want you to take a look at the set of meetings from February 22nd. It starts with Housing Authority. Then it goes on to Cranberry Highway and Beta. What I'm missing on February 8th is attached to the February 22nd meeting minutes. So for whatever reason, they were attached to February 22nd, and they should have been attached to February 8th.
So we should have these looked over by the new transcriptionist and redone?
I'm hoping that by me discussing them on this meeting, she will understand why I think we have a problem. On 2/8, the discussion regarding the housing unit and rehabilitation are correct. They're not correct on the February 22nd, but everything else is. So have fun trying to understand what happened on February 8th and February 22nd meetings. I can't, they're not good. Sorry.
Okay, motion to put these on hold, February 8th and February 22nd.
Second.
There be no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote, 400.
And for whatever reason, didn't we have a workshop on February 8th? Oh, yes.
Yes.
But we
Yes.
didn't do anything because it was not on the agenda. But I can find an agenda on the town website, so the 2/8 agenda on the town website doesn't match what we discussed at the 2/8 meeting, so I'm very confused about what the
I
agenda,
noticed that, yeah.
what the agenda for 2/8 doesn't match what we talked about in 2/8. So whoever's trying to match the agenda to the minutes are going to have a tough time for February 8th. Okay.
Okay, that's it for our minutes, but as an FYI, the current receptionist, or excuse me, transcriptionist we had, Christiana, has left our employment, and we have since hired Kelly Barrasso, who we're very experienced with, and a very experienced individual. And until she's up to speed, we might be a little delayed on our minutes, but I'm sure by the end of the month, we should be hopefully current. And we look forward to dealing with her, the results of her efforts. Okay, the next one is the pending. I always like to make sure that we are aware that there are notes or meeting minutes we haven't accepted. One is the 16th, the 14th, March 8th, and March 28th. Sandy, you had another one you wanted to add to that?
What, we didn't have anything on March 8th. This was very confusing. You sent me a draft of the agenda where it was March 28th, the workshop, and March 28th, the meeting. But this copy of the agenda says March 8th. What happened to the ones that I reviewed and approved? Why was the March 28 changed to March 8? I don't know who
I looked at
touches
I looked at the agendas that did not have minutes and that we had worked on, and those are the ones I came up with missing.
Yeah, but you sent me a draft, and it said March 28 workshop.
I believe I did it twice in error. Was it 2 line items for 28?
But now, we had a workshop on the 28th and a meeting on the 20th, but if I look at the agenda posted on the town website, it says March 8 workshop. We didn't have one on March 8th.
Then
We
it
had one on the 28th.
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
so it's just the,
That was an error on the website. On the paper agenda, it was correct. Yeah, March
I
28th.
got
Yeah,
a
okay.
draft of it, and it was correct, so I have no idea why it was incorrect posted on the town website.
Yeah, I don't know either, but
Okay. Now, I just signed the January 25th, 24 minutes. Who should I give them to for posting?
what
Want to put
you,
them in the green folder, the blue folder?
what you typically do after we've accepted
I
minutes.
give them to the office, the sewer office,
Okay,
for posting.
okay. Anita will know how to do it.
Would you give it to
Yes.
the town clerk?
But that's done, so they need to be scanned and delivered to town, so please don't lose them. All right. So we need to say this is March. Did I have any other minutes missing? Nope, I think I sent you a notice to what? 222, 314, 38, 328, 320, yeah. That's it.
Okay, moving on to contract policy. Coelho Cleaning Service. Their once-a-week cleaning of the WPCF office and operations building. $175 per week, not to exceed $9,275. Contract dates, March 1 to February 24 to February 28, 2025.
I make a motion, we accept this contract.
second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's a vote 4-0-0. And what I'd like to do is go down to unanticipated items received in the last 24 hours. We didn't find out, I didn't find out until this weekend that Christiana had left our employ. And then I went forward and talked to Kelly Barrasso about doing our minutes, and she's agreed to do so. And a contract will be in the town hall come next Tuesday. But I've asked you to consider the contract with Kelly Barrasso.
I make a motion, we accept the contract with Kelly.
Second.
That's for her transcription services. to the Board of Sewer Commissioners meetings. Any discussion?
Just that this has to be ratified. Please put it on the agenda for the next meeting, that we ratify the vote,
Yes.
since this was not part of our agenda.
Did I call for a vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 400. Next item on our agenda is abatements. Abatement recommendation, second half sewage usage billing for 67 Jefferson Shores Road. Application approved for $1,487 due to a clerical error. The account is being approved for the November 3rd letter stating the abatement is approved for $743, as well as this bill for February 2024 in the amount of $743. The account will be placed on hold immediately. May I have a motion to accept?
Make a motion, we accept.
Second?
May I please, in your motion, can you identify which the,
The one he was just talking about.
I know, but you need the account number to go in the minutes, so someone
Okay.
knows.
Account number 736406. Thank you, Sandy. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. There was a second application, but for some reason, however, in my paperwork,
For
10 Turner
number
Ave.
738935 Turner Avenue, Donald Sheeran, an abatement application for $743. Water's been shut off for a year, and it's approved by the superintendent. I make a motion, we accept this.
Second.
Second? No, no.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The next one is the update from Mr. Lombardi of C&W Consulting. This is his periodic update, and this, in fact, was postponed from the previous meeting. Come on up, Charlie. You're going to be a familiar face around here.
Good evening, Commissioners. Charles Lombardi, CWL O&M Solutions. Hoping that you all got this email last evening. I sent it two ways. In case you had trouble opening it, it was tough to send as an attachment because of the pictures. So Commissioner Gibberti did respond that he got it, so I'm hoping you all did.
Yep.
I wanted to quickly give you an update on, continuing efforts of me and members of my team working with Scott and members of his team, which has been a very cooperative effort. We finished Harvey's involvement with the cleanup of the plant and wanted to let you know that I think it was a very fair price. It was a great team-building thing with the in-house staff filling 10 dumpsters and getting them disposed of, and the total cost was under $9,000 to do it, which I think was phenomenal. And you got some before and after pictures on page 1. This is the area that was cleaned up, and this is what it looks like now. From dumpsters 6 through 12 that came, there was a different type of debris that was put in the dumpsters. The first 4 contained a lot of plastic from the 55-gallon drums in the chemical totes. but then some other debris, was taken in there. So it was the same cost per ton, but they were heavier. So the second batch was a little higher because of that. The smart covers, we did maintenance. We worked with Smart Cover under their agreement with the town, and then there was some extra costs for some work that had to be done on the 5 smart covers that the town owns. One of them was a brand-new smart cover that was reinstalled in the Swifts Beach area, and others were maintenance that had to be done, and I kind of indicated what was done with each of the smart covers, and made a recommendation that the smart cover that's at the Point Independence, which was put there initially because there was debris getting in the line, and it was slowing down flow, and it was to be used to schedule maintenance of that line. So they know that debris builds up there, and it probably should be put on a regular maintenance schedule, and that smart cover could be moved elsewhere in the town to be used to identify excessive I&I. We, with the pump station, the PHI mixers, they have one mixer, they purchased one. The demo unit, which was provided by the vendor at no cost to the town, has been returned to the vendor. The town kept it for at least a month, maybe longer, moved it around to different stations with success, which is why they purchased one, and O&M staff were looking to purchase another. I think the one that is purchased now is in the Kendrick pump station and has minimized the need to maintain that wet well. It's working as advertised in that pump station, and I don't know where the second one is going to go right now. Do you, Scott, know where the second one's going to go?
Not yet.
I don't, but they do have a good handle on where it's going to be best used, and is one in, and I guess one is on the way. The roofs, I know that the commission approved the emergency repair of the Narrows pump station. There were 2 others that were identified by O&M staff, and they were Kennedy in Nanomet pump station, and I've given you a couple of pictures of why they're considered an emergency. Kennedy, you can see the leaks, and there's a concern that it may short out controls. Nanomet pump station, this is kind of an ongoing thing, what you see here, the animals getting in there and getting into the roof and causing this kind of debris, which isn't a one-time thing, and then staff goes out there and cleans it up. But the concern is that these animals that go in there are going to gnaw away at the wires and cause some sort of a failure with either alarms or power. We have identified projects, you've seen them in prior reports, and want to let you know that they're still on the schedule. I'm waiting for the utility company to get back to me. It's been brought to their attention about what's going on with the branches at the Nanomet pump station, and I'm waiting to hear back from the, I called Eversource and several times, and I'm waiting to hear back from them as to when they're going to come out there and deal with this situation. What happened here is one of the O&M staff who visits the station frequently cut these kind of at the bottom and wanted them to die so they didn't get any bigger, but it still looks like that today. Then we got the roof at Green Street that you can see the kind of repairs that need to be done there, and which can be done by in-house staff. And then this is one of several frames at pump stations, what they look like, that again, in-house staff is scheduled to do that work. You haven't been able to get to it because there's, staffing limitations and sometimes equipment and limitations, especially with regard to the pipeline projects that are listed on page 5 that are still on the agenda, and I spelled wee-wee-antic right this time here. And I want to talk about that. Initially, when I went out there with a member of the O&M staff, that was thought to be a gravity line, but I'm pretty sure it's a force main that goes across that river there. And in order to look at that, you're going to have to look at some different type of technology that we talked a little bit about during the Narrows force main discussion. But, they still have staffing issues. They only have 10 staff members now, and this is kind of a breakdown of the 10. They're on varying work schedules, which make it difficult on certain days to have a number of staff here to do anything more than the emergencies that seem to be cropping up on a regular basis, that Scott and his staff are dealing with. And there's some staff utilization issues that are related to this kind of a mixed work schedule. And something else that is really impacting staff utilization is the way that the pump stations are being inspected. And I'm going to address these in detail with detailed recommendations in the final report. The best recommendation I can give right now is what Scott's doing. He's trying to quickly hire qualified staff consistent with, some recommendations that were made in a negotiated realignment that he worked on. And as I said, details on how to deal with staff utilization will be forthcoming in the final report. And the last thing I want to report here is that the maintenance documentation, asset management SOPs, which, there's been a continued review by me and my team on what's been made available. And the staff has been great to give me what they have available. And, I found that there's very little to no maintenance documentation on what was done. There's a real culture change going on here, okay, between the old administration and the administration under Scott in a severely positive manner, okay? So it's tough to get anything out of any kind of maintenance documentation that I was able to find, which is extremely limited. The plans that I've been able to look at with the help of O&M staff are useful, but it's really difficult because there's no structure. That's the plan room, and that's how the plans are set up down there. GHD has been helpful because they have some information, and they're going to be helpful moving forward to get me what I need to complete my final report. The pump station's O&M manuals have been useful, but it's a very labor-intensive operation to go each and every one of them, and I have gone through about 7 of them to this point that are available. There's no useful information on any kind of pipeline inspections, at all. And moving forward, there will be, but there's nothing that I can look at that's going to help. SOPs that I've got, and I have a few more that I'm going to be getting, they seem to be outdated, not being used, and not well-structured. So I'm going to be developing some new ones and improving on the ones that I have, and I'm still in the process of getting a few others that Scott tells me do exist. And the last thing here is the town owns two asset management platforms that are not being used. One is called EPAC, and they're paying $12,000 a year for EPAC. And one of them's for a maintenance agreement, and one's for the ability to use their software. Now, EPAC is mainly for the maintenance industry and the manufacturing industry. It is not the right application for a municipality. It has been populated to some degree, and I'm strongly going to recommend that the town divorce itself from using EPAC. They also have utility cloud. And utility cloud is a specific asset management for municipal water and wastewater operations. And one of their biggest clients in Massachusetts is Fall River, and I found that out today. Now, the town is paying a little over $2,700 a year just to be allowed access to use their software. And it's really only being used by Anita, who navigates it pretty well for markouts. And she does add the monthly logs that are kept at the pump station to the pump stations that are populated in utility cloud. Now, somebody did tell me that it may have been used elsewhere in the town, but I don't think it is, because I had a conference call with two key representatives from Utility Cloud today, and there's only 6 authorized users. And Scott authorized me to be a user, and it's him, it's 3 of his O&M staff, including Anita, and Mark Underhill, who's the IT manager, who knew nothing about this when I went to him. Matt, I'm sorry, Matt. And Matt's been great, and he's a user now. So we've set up a Zoom meeting with Utility Cloud next week that Scott has agreed to and his O&M staff for an hour at no cost to the town. And it is populated, and I did start to look into this because, just for a minute, I want to grab this. I found this, and this has 1,910 and 11 manholes that were populated into Utility Cloud in 2014 and 2015. And that's why I included this in the report, because this, and it has, you know, the manhole by coordinates, but it has them listed all at the same address on these streets. So I asked Utility Cloud if there's a way that we can get a map of the whole town with each manhole being numbered accordingly. And that's important, because if you're gonna do a pipeline inspection, you can get the right manholes and say, you started at this manhole and this manhole. And it means something. And if you're gonna inspect them, you can inspect them by the number, and it will coordinate to a plan that you're gonna have. So I thought that was a pretty good find, and Utility Cloud was very cooperative. And if the town wants to expand their relationship with Utility Cloud, which is going to be strongly recommended by CWL, there is going to be a fee of, it could be as much as $16,000 a year. But if you separate yourself from EPAC, which I don't think you're really going to need, you're saving $12,000 there. So, and both systems have been populated to some degree, okay? I don't know what's in EPAC, because I'm focusing more on utility cloud, but there are assets in utility cloud that are useful and can be expanded upon. So I just wanted the commission to know that, and there's going to be a lot of follow-up work on that in the next few weeks, and it's going to be highlighted in the final report. So I can answer any questions that you have.
Charlie, can the information you say is in EPAC now, can that be extrapolated out into utility cloud?
I don't know that, and that's one of the questions that we're going to bring to the table in Wednesday's Zoom meeting with Utility Cloud.
So how many man covers do we have under utility cloud? 19?
No, 1,911.
1,900
And 11.
and 11.
I have an exact number here on that.
And how many do we have under EPAC?
None, zero.
Okay, how many manholes do we have in the whole town?
No, according to this, it's 1,911. I've reported 1,920
In the whole town.
in the whole town.
Yes.
So utility cloud covers 1,911, all
Yes.
of them?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And will they be able to do an overlay on a map?
Well, if you go into Utility Cloud, you can see the whole town with these lollipops up, but the numbers, and if you zero in, you would get a number, but there's not a printout of the whole town with a manhole with 1,911 numbers on the manholes, which is, they say they can do, but I don't think they can do it now.
So we're talking, you have 5 smart covers, and you recommend we buy how many more?
No, the smart covers you have now
We are fine.
are fine.
The PHI mixing,
The town, the staff wants to buy one more, and I think that's enough, because you can move them around. Well, you can move them around, but if you want to, if you have additional pump stations that are really, binding up with rags and grease, you could buy additional ones to put in those stations that are found to have that kind of a problem.
Because
But right now, they're at 2 that they want to purchase.
both these units are data gathering, so they don't necessarily set in one place permanently. You put them around to points where you want to gather certain data on issues.
Well, the PHI metering system is more a maintenance preventive kind of system, improve the operational status of a facility. It doesn't really gather any data. It just reduces grease, rags, and, floatable debris, and prevents it from binding up the pumps. So it doesn't really gather any data at all.
Okay.
The smart covers gather the data.
Yeah, there's 3 modes of data. It get levels, real-time levels, real-time flow, and if the municipality chooses, real-time hydrogen sulfide, atmospheric hydrogen sulfide levels.
Any other questions, comments?
thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Charlie.
Thank
for
you.
the
So we
report,
got one more
Charlie.
coming?
Yeah, the final report coming.
Look forward to that.
I look forward to putting it together, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
The only other issue, the outside issue, the gentleman up in the back, are you here for a particular issue that's on?
Which is why I asked we bring up 8E next.
Okay, that's what I was going to do.
Bring up what?
8D.
8E, 15 Gibbs Ave. I think we're looking for an increase in flow request.
Yes, please step up.
Thank you. So I brought a concept drawing.
You're going to have to identify yourself for the record.
My name is Stephen Bushman.
No, in front of the mic.
When you get to a microphone.
Sure. You folks would like to-
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Stephen Bushman from 19 Depot Street. This is a Gibbs Ave project, 15 Gibbs Ave, the old school,
Okay, that's what we are.
over by the cannons at the end of Main Street. So we were in front of you folks a while back, and we asked for 3630 gallons per day. Then we went back to the drawing board with the architects, and we're asking for an additional 1980, for a total of 5280. Is what we're here for tonight.
Steve, one more time, the total? Five?
5280 total. We're asking for an additional 1980. We requested 3630 at the last meeting, and that was granted.
Are you putting in more bedrooms?
No more bedrooms, it's total apartment to 24, so we did. We went 8 1s, 8 2s, and 8 3s.
8 1s, 8 2s.
And 8 3s, that's why we're asking for the additional gallonage. Originally, we were at 3 2s, 3 3s, and 18 1s. But after communicating with our team members, we feel as if this is more appropriate to offer the folks in town more families versus single individuals. That's why we're here.
Discussion, any questions? Clarifications?
And this is at the beginning stages, folks, like we mentioned last time. This is, I'll guesstimate, a year and a half out. We still have to go in front of the select board, but I wanted to reach you folks first.
I make a motion that we increase the flow for 15 Gibbs Ave by 1,980 units per day, gallons per day, to a total of 5280, and add it to our list of pending projects.
I'll second that, as long as it's on the pending list.
On a pending list.
And I would
Yep.
specify as 40B, just for the record. This is a friendly 40B, sir. Okay.
Any further discussion? Scott, did you want to say anything regarding this issue? You're comfortable with the increase?
If we're,
Yeah, bring it on.
we can handle it. As soon as we get out of this drowning.
When it stops raining, we're all set.
Fine, yeah.
If it gets to be too
Handle
much, we'll
that.
send it to Carver.
Okay, there being no other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote 400.
It didn't even hurt.
Thank you very much, folks.
You're very welcome.
Have a good night.
See you.
Folks, next time. Scott, thank you very much.
See you.
Appreciate all your help.
Okay, where'd Mark go to?
It's out in the hall.
He's out having coffee.
What's this other document in our, what's this document? It's in the packet.
Yes, that's the list of, I'll get to that, but I was trying to make some kind of sense out of our policy, our policies.
Oh,
This doesn't make sense to me, but that's okay.
Okay, I was bringing, hey, Mark? I mean, if talking with him is much more entertaining than,
He mentioned that he needed he would like some help with gathering information, that's all.
okay. I brought this up and we'll call it under, after 24 hours, 48 hours, excuse me. As a result of an earlier meeting this week, we were concerned with respect to the process with the planning board, and they currently are doing a stormwater permit site plan review, and I believe in their May meeting, can't remember the date now,
I think it's May 20th.
the 20th, to hopefully get approval. And what I wanted to bring out was the criticality of the timeline that we're following. And I was asking Mark here, and with, I hadn't really invited Sarah, she's a much more attractive individual to talk with.
No offense taken, so.
Okay. But unfortunately, she lost her voice, and so Mark's filling in. And I think what I think we should understand is the criticality of the timeline. And we are waiting for planning board, and I'll speak with the chairman to try to emphasize the importance of it. But I would ask Mark, would you go over the criticality of it in the context of the overall permit we have for 36 million?
Yeah, let me provide some context too. So in the past, SRF has allowed extensions going as far as November. They're now telling us that they have a hard deadline of August 31st to get contracts signed up. So a month ago, 2 months ago, there was less pressure. What's happened is the only item that's left on the to-do list is on the town end, and they're telling us that they're having issues in multiple towns, and they're having less patience with, town issues holding up the project. The state can hold up the project, but I'm just, the conduit for this information. So, a month ago, this was not an issue because we still had a state permit to get. Now the state has come through and provided the permit that we were waiting for. Another piece of information is that what we've been waiting for in this planning process, in the planning board review process, is been trying to have a third-party review. And we just received, I think on Friday last week, the dollar value for what was needed to populate this 53G account.
53G.
Yeah, so we just,
And what's the amount?
it's like
$5,000.
$5,600 or whatever. So, we are following the procedure by the book. We're cutting a check, and that will be delivered early next week to them. So,
Tuesday would be a good day.
yeah, okay. So so that's in process right now. So we jumped on that the minute that came to us. So, unfortunately, it's came in 2 months after the first hearing or something like that. So, we're acting as we get this, as we're able to, so.
And it's my understanding the planning board has put on a special meeting just for this because they realize the time issue.
Yep.
Because their normal, second and fourth Mondays are pretty booked up, or first and third Mondays. So they gave us a special,
So they gave us a special one because their second meeting in May falls on Memorial Day, so they backed it up,
just-
so,
yeah.
yes,
But at least
yes.
we're on the schedule.
Agreed.
Yes.
No, I agree, so,
Yeah, I'm glad they got their 9 whatever they needed, and the check coming for 53G. Just too bad it didn't happen 6 weeks ago.
I agree. So, but I guess I just wanted to explain to you, I mean, we just got this information from them on Friday last week. So we're working to try and, work on our side to make this happen. But it's becoming a critical issue just because what I explained with the state, so.
So what's left to be done to meet the August 31st deadline?
So there were 3 items. The 3 items have been on the to-do list since January. The stormwater permit, the state permit, and the construction phase services contract. The construction phase services contract is in the contract review cycle, according to Patty. We got the state permit, and so it's really just, the big unknown is just getting the stormwater permit at this point. So,
What was number 3, construction
construction phase services agreement.
phase?
Yeah, so the sewer commissioners took this up a month or so ago and approved it. It went into town hall, and it's in their, I'm sorry, the contract software. I don't know what it's called, but,
Yes.
Yeah,
okay. So that's in process. We have the state permit, so it's really just this is the last item.
The 53G from the planning board.
So the 53, what that is, it's an account that just has to be funded. Yeah, so once that's funded, the third-party entity will start their review of those documents and provide comments, and provide those comments to the planning board and presumably to us, so.
Now, will this be done prior to the meeting?
I
Or
hope.
do we have to wait for the meeting before this even starts?
So my understanding is that the comments would come prior to the
Okay,
meeting
now,
with the planning board.
What's the impact to us if this doesn't get accomplished, it doesn't get finished, or we don't get the approval of the planning board? What's the long-term consequences?
Hard pressed to meet August 31st.
we lose
Well,
that.
Yeah, it becomes more difficult to meet the 31st. So we'd have to go back to the state and say we need a little bit more time.
And they say no.
If they say no, then the worst-case scenario is you drop off the funding list. That's the worst-case scenario. I mean, we
Okay, so the
do
worst-
every,
So if we can't get this thing approved and moving at the next meeting, we have a potential to be dropped off the funding list.
Yes,
so that's the worst
Okay?
case,
And
yeah.
if we get dropped off the funding list, that means we won't get the rebate, we won't get the low interest, and,
Right.
and now to get back on the funding list becomes another
yep,
dog and pony show.
Right.
start from the beginning.
So,
Assuming that it doesn't get met at the planning board's meeting on the 20th of May, are there any other potential meetings after that where it can be accomplished before the August 31st deadline?
Well, the planning board does meet twice a month, but they
Okay.
have a busy agenda,
Mm-hmm.
so.
I haven't seen them bump somebody from their schedule for another issue.
And they're spending all their hours on solar. All of it.
Yeah,
Well, would it be wise to book a hearing in advance, not knowing whether it will be needed or not, and cancel it later?
excuse me, say that again?
Would it be a possibility to schedule a hearing in advance, save a spot in case May 20th does not work out? We could get one in June.
I'm not sure how flexible they are with that respect, and as
Do they have a
Sandy's
queue?
pointed out, they do have a very long schedule. I mean, these, minimum of half a dozen issues every evening that they meet.
I mean, their last meeting went into 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Most of it was hours going over solar. Well, what else do they talk about? Hidden trails, I think, was another long discussion.
and when they get with
56
solar,
units.
they're thinking of terms of clearing out large swatches or acres of land, and people are very protective of that, so they'll have long discussions.
It isn't just the site off of County Road. They're still on the plate for everything that has been approved and being worked on for acres and acres of land through the Makepeace property. And the storage of the batteries and all of that PFAS and
Right.
just a
Well-
tremendous amount of discussion that goes on.
I guess it'd be good to try and squeeze a hearing in there,
Well, I'll speak to Mike,
maybe, you know,
the chairman,
reserve a
And-
spot.
see what he advises.
I will say, in their defense, this is unusual. This is unusual, right? They're used to dealing with private entities, and
Yeah.
so this is unusual. And Wareham's not the only town that has instituted this process for the stormwater permitting to go through planning board. But it's relatively new, and
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, there was a
Well-
lot of discussion as why is the town of Wareham having to pay the town of Wareham for 53G?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think that became an unknown piece of information as to why it was 6 weeks before it got resolved that we had no choice but to fund ourselves.
And, yeah, I spoke with Sonia and Mike during that time period, and they were rather vague as to how accomplish it, because first
Can we
time,
do anything other than paying ourselves?
indeed.
Regardless, I'm just looking at saving the project.
I hear you.
That's it.
Yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
know if you have an opportunity to, I don't know if you have an in with the planning board chair to find out if we could save a slot
Well, it's
for,
worth having a discussion with them to see if we can get on.
Yeah,
on
can we get
an
on the
agenda,
next
that's all.
agenda
Just-
to ask for an additional slot?
Just to ask for
Well,
it, what they can say is
I'll
no.
No
speak to Mike.
discussion, but
Oh,
ask for
okay.
additional slot after May 20th,
Yes.
just
So-
in case we need it.
so that would be done through, you'd have to ask through
It's like
the
Karen
next
said.
meeting?
Karen
Yes,
said.
Yeah.
it'd have
I'll
to go
speak
on
to
the,
Mike.
yeah.
And ask him what he advises to do to try to expedite this whole process, which is one reason I brought it on the agenda tonight, was to make an official discussion and concerns about it. And for the record, because I talked to Derek, and he's equally concerned about it also.
Is it on the agenda?
No,
So that's why we're taking this out of 48 hours.
yes,
Yes. Some of this information has just come up, the SRF conversation, this has just come up very recently, so.
Thank you.
okay, anything else on this particular
Thanks,
issue?
Mark.
Could you just make sure we're on your next agenda so we could talk about this same thing again?
Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw the note that you didn't want to, when are you asking to come back? Because of,
So, yeah, just
Not-
because of the town
Meeting,
the
there was-
closest of town meeting, yeah.
Yeah,
we-
the dates have changed
Right.
on that. The CMWP meetings are going to occur now in beginning of May. And you have one exclusive, if you want to handle it over the plant using the new computer room. I checked with the director. He's usually pretty easy with it.
So-
I will do that.
we have
Refreshments if you have refreshments.
Bernie, did you?
a non-public meeting on May 2nd at
Yes,
the plant at 2 o'clock.
yes.
And then there was a public meeting on the 9th during a normal sewer meeting.
That's right, yeah, that would be at your
So we
first
have
meeting.
one at the plant, non-public, and then we have the public one during our meeting of the 9th.
Now,
Yes,
the one at the plant, we call it non-public because we're not involved in it at all. And he doesn't have to post it or anything,
But we have to.
not if we're not there. The non-public meeting we're talking about is the advisory council, nothing to do with us.
Oh,
yeah, correct.
The following meeting is our public meeting, and that's the official one.
okay. So I had
That's gonna
something on
follow.
my agenda for May 2nd and May 9th.
So I will say that for the meeting on the 2nd, there's a representative for multiple boards, including the Sewer Commission. Bernie, you have been attending as the chair, and I think it's mostly chairs of
Primarily,
various
yes.
committees that have been attending, so. Okay.
I guess conservation wasn't included. Because this chair hasn't heard of it.
Yeah,
Okay,
You have
all
to take
set?
that up with Sarah.
Thank you,
Okay,
Mark.
thank you.
Okay,
What time is that meeting?
7:30. No game
The
tonight.
advisory-
Which one?
The one at the.
On the 2nd?
Yeah. The advisory committee, is that afternoon?
No, I have it down at 2 o'clock
Yeah, okay.
at the plant, but we can't go. Correct?
Correct, it's not an open meeting.
So we cannot, none
Correct.
of us can go.
Correct.
Well, if chairman can go, then I'll go.
Okay, the next one on the agenda,
Committee chair.
on 8, I went through the policies, I had done this a while ago. They're rather confusing, from my point of view anyway, and I was going to suggest if there's anyone who might be interested in trying to organize them.
No,
I guess that takes care of that.
unless somebody else wants it, not me.
Organize.
I was hoping for a volunteer, but obviously, it was very confusing, and I know we're going to have to get into making some more policies if we start into some other issues. But moving on,
I'm sorry, but I know that this access to town council from January 19th, 1988 was just recently redone.
it's been in conference a long while.
I was going to say, some of these are ancient, just like an 1830, 1860.
Predates all of us.
Yes, so,
The access to council, that's the selectmen's shtick. That's not our policy.
Yeah, but at that time, we may have had a different one. But anyway, moving right along, we have a letter from the chairman of the board, select board, regarding the type of and the place of our meetings. And they have entered into a contract with WCTV to provide for particular committees a complete live broadcast as well as Zoom. And we are listed in List A, comprising of those who hold hearings and adjudicate. I don't think we do either one of those, but we've enlisted A based on our importance. Now, we had, Scott had gone through redoing the conference room over at the plant, and we thought the admin building, the new room, was certainly large enough to accommodate ourselves as well as guests. But there won't be any opportunity to broadcast live out of that. You can see,
only because we choose to meet in the afternoon. We could broadcast live if we met at 6:30, but we're choosing to broadcast during the day, which would not make it live.
correct. And of course, there's no equipment over at the plant or admin building to broadcast live, even if we met at night.
Yep.
Do FaceTime.
And because now we didn't have any input to the contract, but the contract is with WCTV in the town of Wareham, in which we are a part of, so we will attempt to function under the requirements of this letter. And it really doesn't put a burden on us, other than we were hoping to be a little more easy, one for our director, and for ourselves, us being able to go to bed earlier or at our regular time. But any comments? Question?
Well, you could still schedule a 2:00 meeting,
We can still do that, yes.
I mean,
just change the location.
why not? If 3:20 is available,
No, just
Schedule-
exactly.
schedule our meeting
What I'm saying,
here,
we can always-
WCTV films it, and then rebroadcast it at 6:30. So, but 3:20 allows them to do their recording,
Sounds good.
Yes.
Everything's
so
here, so
we
say if it's
can-
open, do it.
accommodate an earlier meeting. Because
Indeed.
it can be rebroadcast.
And the only requirement in our bylaws is we meet the second and fourth Thursday. It's the only stipulation. And we have a comment perhaps from our WCTV technician.
I don't have a mic, so if you want to repeat this so everybody can hear. We can broadcast live from anywhere. We have the equipment for that. The meeting room is just the most convenient place to broadcast
Okay.
live from.
Hey,
So
we-
if we choose to have a meeting here, we can broadcast live, just that no one in town would expect us to be at 2 as opposed to 6:30.
Well, if you
Correct.
told them the week before, then if they were watching, they'd know.
Then we'd always, so we just have to be consistent. If we're going to do it at 2, we have to consistently do it at 2.
No, we don't.
Well, we do have to, for the purposes of people scheduling themselves. It's a convenience to the public.
What about the hybrid meetings? Is this something new?
At this meeting, on what time and where our next meeting is going to be is notification.
I just like the idea, if we're going to do it, I think have to be we should be consistent as to when we're having our meetings so people can plan for such, as opposed to, well, I don't know what they're gonna do in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think a permanent move or to the afternoon would be good. We're trying to,
Whether it be 2 or
Accomplish a goal.
3 or 4 or something like that.
I think our next meeting, we'll have Zoom, because it will be with, excuse me, GHD and the CWMP presentation. Perhaps we get a sense of the number of people we have at 6:30, because we've never really had an idea of what kind of audience we have.
When we have had Zoom, I don't think anybody looked to see if who dialed in. Because we do
No, we
Zoom
haven't.
every once in a while when one of our members cannot make a meeting.
Yes.
So we're going to continue to meet here at 6:30 on Zoom at the next meeting, and then we will determine if we do something different.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next item, the Wareham Sewer Enterprise Fund budget. And we voted the budget, but the last vote was regarding the operational budget that Scott had been working with the town administrator. But in the interim, they have done some continuing discussions. And in my conversation with Derek earlier this week, there certainly has been some changes. One, the indirect and direct cost. There are areas that he's not charging us that he has charged before. And there's direct cost, depending upon let's say, the insurance, and the liability has changed because the information came in which caused a change also in the amount which is allocated towards the school department. So without being able to identify the individual changes, I would ask that
Is this the budget we saw at the last meeting?
primarily, yes, there's some line items that have changed.
But that changed, but did the total change, or just? it
I wasn't
shifted
very
around?
able to ascertain that.
So we don't know what budget amount we're approving?
Wait a minute. The revenue balance and expenses total $8,155,831.
Yeah, the total stayed the same,
Yeah.
just a reshuffling of a few things.
Okay, so I have 8696637, is that the number?
8155831 is the new number.
So we don't have any document.
Well, you have them, but I haven't run it. Everyone has the documents, so yes, you have the documents.
Well, no, the document we had at the last meeting said.
The
that
last
we-
meeting, I think I've emailed the latest one that I received is out to
Well, I
everyone.
got one from Alan, but I didn't get one from you.
Didn't look like this,
Hmm,
something like that.
I'm looking at what we got last meeting.
But that is the
What's the
total,
new, what's the new budget?
8155831.
So it's been reduced from what we had at last meeting.
Yes.
What got knocked off?
I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to review it deeper, but it wasn't anything. grand.
The, some of the
So it's
salaries
a
have
reduction of
changed.
about 500,000.
Pardon?
It's a reduction of 500,000 from
Then
the
that may
last
be
time we
wrong.
saw.
That may be wrong. Then I've got one sheet here that says one issue on it. I haven't had the time to go through it, and apparently other people, I mean, you have the paperwork.
So you're asking us to approve a budget.
If you want to wait, you can.
No,
but,
I mean, I'm just
But
trying
we
to
have town
figure
meeting
out.
coming up, that would be.
Yes, we have town meeting coming up, and I want to, I was surprised. Let me see. Let me see if I can find that email I got from Alan on it, because I don't think I got one from you. Anybody else seen the new budget level, or is it just,
I did not get one from Alan.
no?
I didn't either.
No, but we didn't get, so Bernie, did you get one with a new amount on it electronically?
I did from Derek.
And we don't have it.
I don't have it, that's for sure.
And I got it the 8th, which would be,
Monday. I'm having tough time finding that email, asking me to verify if this is the budget we approved. Well, you can vote on it. I'm going to abstain because I've not seen the report.
we have a town meeting before it.
Yes, we should have it approved before town meeting.
Are you suggesting we have a meeting before then?
No, I'm just saying I'm going to abstain because I've not seen a report. I've not seen the detailed reducing the budget to 1.8 million. But you've seen it, right?
I have it in front of me.
8.1 million, not 1.
8.1 million, $555,831. Yeah. But you have it there in front of you?
Yes,
Would you
Show
be
it to
willing to
Sandy.
share it with us
of course.
electronically, and maybe we come back to it at the end of the meeting? Jimmy, we all have our phones with us, right?
Yes. Are you AIM.com or AOL?
AIM.
Okay.
I got my email before AOL existed. That's why it's AIM. Just, I can't approve something I've not seen. You be very well vote on it, but I will be abstaining and. Okay, where did it go? Do you want to move on and then we come back when it's made into our phones?
I think I said so. I just said. Okay, we've already handled the Broad Street.
We did? What did we do for Broad
You
Street?
did, wait a minute, no, we didn't.
What did we do for Broad Street?
We didn't do that yet.
And
So what is Broad Street?
I don't know, apparently I've been putting it in my pile.
Because there's nothing in our folders.
Nope, there isn't. I think I was supposed to get something with a follow-up. So we'll bypass that. In the ATM and the STM articles, we have only two articles, one in the ATM, which is the budget article itself, and on the STM, we have the blowers and the 3 or 4 trucks.
And who's going to speak to that blower article?
The STM for the blowers, it's unusual. The article, which is what you wrote, Sandy, is the using retained earnings. The presentation is submitted by the Board of Selectmen at the request of the town administrator. Now, he's going to use as he's told me, ARPA funds. And I
Really?
suggested that the way it reads, it comes out of retained earnings, but he, as a submitter of the article, can't take it out. He doesn't have the authority.
That's odd, because at the last town meeting, one of our articles was submitted on the request of the town administrator, and there was no question on that, and it was a sewer article.
I was just concerned the fact that it said retained earnings,
And
and we were
so-
borrowing then.
But wait a minute, if we are going, no, the retained earnings was not going to be a borrowing
No, you said the one on the regular town meeting.
from
So
prior town meeting.
if I could,
Yes.
Yeah,
the article is to take it out of retained earnings.
Yes.
yes.
After that, an application may be filed for ARPA funds, in which case we would be able to retain our retained earnings again.
Right.
But
Okay.
Right.
we want to go forward with using retained earnings to get these items.
And by doing it in special spring, you can get it almost immediately if you take it out of retained earnings.
Yeah.
And to me, this is not a whole lot of money coming
No.
out of retained earnings for what,
Correct.
400?
Yeah, 400,000.
Which is not a lot of money.
No, we have 5 million in retained
So-
earnings.
Well, we had 5 million worth of free cash coming out of last year, but that's, I don't know what we have in retained earnings, but 5 million in free cash.
Well, in enterprise, it's called retained
Oh,
earnings.
Well, anyway, I don't think it makes a difference who submits the article as long as the town body votes on the motion.
I just didn't want it to get tied up in semantics.
Well,
I wanted to make sure
I
when,
don't think anybody
went
looks
through.
at who submitted
yeah,
the
okay.
article.
I agree. But I just wanted your opinion of the board.
Anybody
were
else want to come in this? I don't think it
Makes
makes a
no
difference
Okay.
who submits
Makes
it.
no difference.
We're doing the article
All
on
we
the
want to do
motion.
is just get it done and over
And the
with.
retained earnings, yep.
We want the money now.
And Peter isn't here, and he was going to work on the abatement and the current billing, user billing wording, et cetera.
We'll postpone that for his, when he's here.
We'll postpone. And I have nothing else.
Well, I just got the enterprise fund email. Was that the budget?
Yes,
Never got any,
forwarded from Derek.
I got the email, but I never got any attachment with it.
Yeah, there's no attachment. Am I missing it?
No, I didn't get it.
I'm missing
I mean,
it too.
I got the email, but no attachment to it.
Um,
Of all the things not to have forwarded, typically forward almost everything. My apologies. Okay, how would you like to proceed?
Don't we, shouldn't we approve this budget before town meeting, and we
Yes,
don't have
it'd be-
another meeting?
Correct.
So can you forward it to us with the attachment?
I will, but what I just tried to do was looking at making sure that I have
I mean, you people can vote on it, but I'm going to abstain, so if you feel comfortable voting on that budget, then feel free to take a
It'll be,
vote.
well, however, can I have a motion then?
I'll make a motion, we accept the budget that Bernie has reviewed.
I second it.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call for a roll call, just to be distinctive.
Jim Gibberti, vote aye.
Bob Scanlon, aye.
Bernie Pigeon, aye.
Sandy Slavin, abstain.
Abstain. Three, 1, 0. That is strange.
Well, while we're waiting, do we want to do the superintendent report?
He's joined us, why don't we?
Oh, hi.
It's my second favorite part of the meeting.
Well, progress of the plant continues. We are absolutely drowning in I&I. We are finding multiple locations with more sump pumps. We have yet to actually identify the individual houses, so I can leave my card, but I would ask if I leave my card, give us a call, we'll help you. It'll help, we'll help you help us, how's that? But the crew continues to do cleanup work and the maintenance that had been potentially neglected. A really great teamwork. The team's really getting together very well, and I couldn't be happier. I can tell you when I took the job, it was a little touch and go, but I feel really good about the direction everyone is working, and I just couldn't be happier. We're getting more applicants to positions to fill, and they're good applicants, quality people, so.
Actually, interview 4 this week?
2.
2?
And they were both quality people. And we've hired a couple people recently that are, you know, some very new and some with some great experience, so again, we're excited. We'll take new people all day, we'll train them before they get bad habits. We'll give them our own bad habits, and it's better that way.
That's reasonable.
But yeah, the plant is handling the excessive flow unbelievably. It hasn't sneezed, it's great. You know, we're using all the items that have been put in place, the additional EQ capacity has been phenomenal, and we're actually still able to just work with the front 2 right now, and we've been getting 1.4 million gallons a day consistently for over 2 months, and we're able to handle it. I don't know how, but it's working. But the system it's just working great, and again, it's really about the team doing the work out there. You'll see us around town with the camera truck, looks like an ambulance, and the people inside are just trying to find more holes to plug. And right now is the time to go get it because the groundwater table is so high. So before we dewater all of Wareham and not get the opportunity to find the holes, we want to find them and plug them as quickly as possible. So.
Now, some time ago, we approved a list of future hookups that haven't happened, like Woodland Cove, et cetera, et cetera. We would be in a real problem if all those additional gallons had been implemented, right?
No, we could handle it.
Okay.
We could handle it. But, I mean, right now, I don't think the groundwater level's been this high. I'll be interested to look at the USGS wells in the area to see how high they actually are. So I'll look for the last couple of months. They come out monthly. And there's wells that the USGS actually monitors monthly. And you can see the peaks, I'd imagine right now must be off the charts. So I'll be interested to see that, but you know, I've been the weekend person at the plant for 2 years, and I've never seen anything like this.
It'd be interesting how this, I won't call it an event per se, but how the rain levels, as they've been, not necessarily consistently heavy storms, but they've been frequent,
Yeah.
and they've not allowed the groundwater to evaporate. Just accumulates.
I mean, I think what I saw was since December 18th, the big storm we had, that big storm, where, you know, for one, we had excessive rains. We had 4.5 inches of rain, I believe, in that storm.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, astronomical high tides, followed by 2 weeks later, I think, we had, just in January, beginning of January, we had another storm that would pretty much match, I believe, a 100-year storm. So we had two essentially 100-year storms with astronomical high tides at the same time. At the same time, they're trying to do the Swiss Beach project. And
Yeah.
so we were all very aware of what happened because it really kind of messed up their project, or it slowed it down a little bit. It didn't stop them, but it slowed it down a little bit. But again, we had those very high rainfalls followed by consistent rainfall, like you're saying. And it's just added, it's compounded, it hasn't had time to drain.
And we got more coming tonight and tomorrow.
It's fantastic. But we're able to handle it. The good news is we can handle it. It's not good, but we're handling it.
I guess we did the basins in time, didn't we?
You sure did.
We
Yeah.
put the
And
umbrella,
we're using them.
if we put
and it-
umbrellas over the basins, will that help?
Not much, no.
Anything else? And I just want to compliment Scott and how he and Derek have been working with respect to personnel. They've done some adjustments in structure in terms of categorizing individuals in positions, as well as being able to put a few more dollars into those positions so that they make them more attractive and competitive. Thank you.
But it doesn't go into effect until June 1st, but still, it was a great move to be able to work with the town on that, so.
That's only taken 5 years.
Anything else? I entertain a motion to
Oh,
adjourn.
sorry, the next meeting is March 18th. There will be a joint meeting.
March 18th.
No,
Joint,
I'm
Cancel
sorry,
it.
this is what the agenda says. Did I
Yes.
miss something?
that's what the agenda was printed.
So
in
when
the
is our next
interim-
meeting?
We have had a
Bernie
meeting,
drives a DeLorean, so.
Yeah, we're traveling back.
It just says March 18th.
yeah, when we had a meeting Tuesday. It was Tuesday we had a meeting. Yeah, no, Wednesday. I
Wednesday.
keep forgetting, we had it Tuesday, moved it to Wednesday. We had a discussion then with regarding the, getting together with the advisory council for the CMWP, and that was the dates that we had worked out initially, and they all went up in the air since then.
Okay. So when is the next meeting?
25th.
It's at our regular scheduled time.
25th?
Well, my note says it's 1:30 at the plant,
Yes, we were going to do that.
but are we?
No.
Okay, so next meeting is on 4/25 at 6:30 in room
That
320.
is right in the middle, right after town meeting and just before the election. And I would suggest we cancel that. 2 of you are up for election and give you the opportunity, or would you like to meet and get camera time?
I think we should hold our meetings on the second and the fourth Thursdays.
Okay, next
There
meeting?
has to be some, I would love to be able to get some minutes done.
I couldn't promise that for Kelly and what you're capable of doing if she wants
But
to.
she can probably get 2/8 done and 2/22 done.
Probably, indeed. Okay. Next meeting, April 25th.
Okay, so I will,
That 18th is scrapped altogether.
Yes, it is.
yeah, you're right. Only if I had a DeLorean.
Send Alan to Meekum.
Now can we motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Seconded.
Motion's
Time?
made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
01.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Thank you.
Time is 8:02
Sure.
for the minutes.
8:02? 8:01, 8:02, whichever.
That's all, folks.